The following program was produced by an independent community producer. The opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the ECAT staff or board of directors.
Giving a voice to the voiceless, pulling stories out of the shadows and putting them under the spotlight, making sure that each person is valued and cared for. This is Humanity First with Peter Evers, presented by BAMSI.
My name is Peter Evers, and this is Humanity First. And we talk about a lot of things on this show. And today I'd like to do a shameless plug for my organization, BAMSI, Brockton Area Multi-Service Inc., which has been a company that's been around about 50 years. In fact, exactly 50 years. We're celebrating 50 years this year. And I just want to talk a little bit about belonging and about community, which is what BAMSI really represents. There's a lot going on in our country at the moment. We're in a very difficult time. I've just actually returned from Europe, where people are really worried about what is happening in this country. There have been perhaps travel warnings from some countries warning people that America might not be a safe place, which I don't believe for a moment. But as I reflect on that and where we are, I think about what we can change, what we're in control of. And we at BAMSI are in control of making our organization a place that is just, a place that's accessible, and where everybody who walks through the door as an employee has the ability to go as far as their potential can take them, regardless of who they are. And this is really important. And today we're going to interview George Omanyo, who is the Director of Operations here at Brockton, here at BAMSI, who has a wonderful story to tell about arriving as an immigrant from Africa and getting a job at BAMSI and being supported along the way, getting involved in all sorts of different parts of BAMSI, of committees, of just sort of lending a voice to the direction that the organization wants to go. He is a wonderful human being. You're going to hear from him. You're going to hear about his journey, and you're going to hear about BAMSI as an organization that wants to invest in people, not just for a Thursday night shift, but what they want to do next in their career and where they want to go. So stick around. We'll be right back with George Omanyo. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm an essential worker here at BAMSI, and I'm a nurse. Nurses are essential here at BAMSI because as nurses, we really have the opportunity to make an impact. We have very small ratios, so we have the opportunity to really learn everything about the person served and be able to give the best care. It really serves such a great purpose for me as being a nurse, and really why I came into nursing. Learn more about nursing opportunities at bamsijobs.org.
Giving a voice to the voiceless, pulling stories out of the shadows and putting them under the spotlight, making sure that each person is valued and cared for. This is Humanity First with Peter Evers, presented by BAMSI.
Welcome back, everybody, to Humanity First. My name is Peter Evers, and as promised at the top of the show, we have a special guest today. We have George Omanyo, who is one of our directors of operations at BAMSI. George, welcome. It's so nice for you to be on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And Georgia, the reason I really wanted to have this conversation with you is as we talk about work in this country, and part of what we're struggling with is a sense of community in this country at the moment. It is a difficult time. There are some senators and reps who are calling for civil divorce in the United States between the red states and the blue states. And that, I think, is affecting everything that we're doing. There have been some very big news stories about political murders, such as Charlie Kirk recently, which is sort of beginning to really stretch at some of the sinews of what keeps America great, this notion of equity, equality, of diversity and justice. And all of those things are shaky right now. Beaming back down into what a workplace should be like, there are a lot of things we can't control, both in our native countries, but also in America, and things shift, don't they? Every 4 years or every 8 years or whatever it is. And I'm always reminded of the Serenity Prayer, which is control what you can. Make a place that is safe, make a place that is open, make a place where people feel they belong and a sense of community. Mm-hmm. You are an amazing person to talk to because you're somebody who came 22 years ago, 23 years ago to the United States. I beat you about a decade, by the way. And began a career here about a year after you arrived here at BAMSI. And for those people who don't listen to the show, BAMSI is an organization in Brockton that serves about 55,000 people with about 1,700 staff in 120 different locations and 110 different programs. Big organization doing a lot of stuff in our community. Really, I see you as a talisman for what is right about BAMSI, not just yourself, but this progression that you have sort of followed in terms of leveraging your skill set, leveraging your abilities, and staying within the organization. Oftentimes people have to leave, right, in order to come back, but you didn't. And that's the story that I'm interested in. So what was your initial impression of BAMSI when you first came? It was a long time ago, I know, but I'm going to challenge your memory and ask you, George, what did you think when you first came? And you were a direct care worker, right, when you came?
Yes. And I agree with you. It was a while back, but my first impressions of BAMSI's mission, which is meet each person where they're at and to support them to learn, grow, and thrive. So going back, I was a student looking for a job that fit in with my school schedule, and I happened to have friends in college that were already working with BAMSI. And so they basically made a case for me. Again, like you said, that BAMSI those lots of opportunities all around. I'd have options as far as where I can work. The job, because of the scheduling and flexibility, was going to be a good fit with my school schedule. So they made a good case, and I applied and got my first position at Lothrop Street in Taunton. And I believe that particular location was pivotal to my journey at BAMSI.
And just to sort of explain to people, North Street is one of our residential homes. We have about 100 of them, I think. Just who do we serve at North?
Yeah, so this is a home that serves individuals that have developmental and behavioral challenges and that need 24-hour supports. And my experience before that was with the healthcare industry and with residential homes and healthcare services nonprofit. It was pretty much what you saw on the news, which was not always presented in the best light possible. So to walk into that program, which, as you know, I know you've been there before, is as homely as a location as you want to. It's a place that you want to live in. You would love your loved ones to live there. Yeah. It did not feel like an institution. It just felt like a home well cared for, where there was a lot of love and support. And that completely shifted my view of what the industry was, and really lived up to the expectation of BAMSI's mission. Yeah. That, again, you introduced to all of that during your orientation and everything, and it aligned when I got to that program.
Yeah. When we talk about this a lot, and we're going to talk about your HR stint as well. Making people feel as if they're welcome and making people feel as if they're part of the scenery, if you like, is one of the things that makes people stay in an organization. Organizations like us, and you know this from HR, we lose a lot of people in the first year. And I'm sure that is because we don't sometimes make people feel welcome. When you come into an organization, you should be seeing "Welcome George" on the door, right? Not somebody saying, well, your supervisor's out for the next 2 weeks and we don't really have a desk for you if you just want to sit over there. Very different feeling. And it seems like you sort of caught that bug fairly early on, that bug of belongingness, of being part of a team and falling in love as well, I think, with the people that we serve, right?
Yes. I mean, it was a good experience. I mean, we will talk about my career trajectory, but we put in a lot of thought and effort into making sure that the onboarding experience is great for anybody coming into BAMSI, because we know how impactful that is in determining their choice to stay with the organization. And my first supervisor is someone who stayed a mentor with me all through the years up until today.
Really?
They're still with BAMSI, Jared Aruda.
Yeah.
And again, he embodies and embodied then the values that BAMSI holds dear. Yeah. So we're talking about, inclusion, collaboration, integrity, compassion,
and learning.
And just lessons that I learned working with Jared at that first location have impacted me to this day.
That is such an important thing, isn't it? Longevity in the job is an important thing. Jared, by the way, is in a different position within the organization, much the same as you, right? Now
exactly.
He's working in our quality department.
It's actually quite interesting. Jared, Richard Ngibuini, who's now a clinician.
Yes, a clinician.
These are all members of the team that I first worked with at Lothrop Street and have remained very close colleagues and mentors still to this day.
Yeah, and Richard's been on this show as well, talking about the sort of immigration journey that he had as well from Kenya. But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because what we offer, in my opinion, at BAMSI is, and I say this a lot, we're interested in you taking a job with us. Mm-hmm. We're interested in you filling a Thursday night shift. That's important. But we're really interested, and maybe we can shift a little. I want to hear a bit more about mentor. But let me jump to that question about your HR experience. We want people to feel cared for, mm-hmm. As we do in orientation. We want a wow factor, right? And I hear a lot of that from people who say, wow, this organization goes the extra mile to make sure that we're welcome here. And when you moved into HR, it was a time when we were changing, weren't we, to that period? How important is that? There are many things that people can do, right? And sometimes they can go and work in a fast food joint and make similar money. I think we've really done well with salaries now that we've broken the $20 an hour starting mark. But it really is about what people can see in their future that we talk about. What is the future? And talk about that a little bit from what you saw from your HR perch.
Again, my HR time in HR was obviously influenced by my time at BAMSI, and just basically seeing all the possibilities that are there at BAMSI. And again, this leads into a larger conversation about why I've stayed for so long. Mm-hmm. So there's been the mentors, but then there's been the collaboration, which is BAMSI, like most other nonprofits, thrives on collaboration. Mm-hmm. And so through the networks that I built over the years and the mentorship, I got opportunities which BAMSI offers to participate in special projects, in collaborative efforts with other departments, in other initiatives, which really totally, especially from a HR perspective, it actually completely opened up my eye to all the things that BAMSI does and all the opportunities. We have the BAMSI homes, we did the residential. We have BAMSI Health with, the behavioral HIV services in the communities, Don Davis Service Center. We have the BAMSI community with the day programs. We have BAMSI Kids, which has, early intervention, WIC. And it just clearly just shows the many opportunities for career pathways at BAMSI that are not always obvious when you first come in.
That's right. And one of the things that I always think is the more people know about what we do, and then they just don't come to work and every day and just do their job. But the more that they volunteer, the more that they join some of our conversations, the more committees that they get involved in, right? And you're one of those people as well, right? Got
Exactly.
right in with the diversity, equity, inclusion committee, which was at a time after the murder of George Floyd when the whole world seemed to be on fire. It still is, actually. But but that sort of getting involved in the organization means that people stay, right?
Exactly. The purpose, a lot of us have stayed and have found meaning in the job because of basically connected to BAMSI's mission. For every individual supported, every new program launched, every underserved community that we support, every opportunity we've made to, every initiative we've had to increase health equity, it's very meaningful, it's purposeful, it keeps you focused and grounded and helps you helps with your decision making and getting you through some of those tougher times.
Yeah.
And a lot of people respond to that.
Yeah.
Like when you find that meaning in your job,
Right.
And you see the impact. I think that's one of the key things that has kept me and people that I know at BAMSI is just seeing how impactful the work that we do and the opportunities that we create in real time and seeing it over the years gives a lot of meaning to what we do in life. Yeah. And that keeps you around because you can see it, you can participate in it. There's opportunities, like you said, for advocacy, for just contributing in many different ways that someone might choose to.
Yeah. I think I'm sort of going off script a little here, but, as an organization, the majority of people that work for our organization are BIPOC. Mm-hmm. And the majority, I think, or a substantial number of those folks are people that were not born in this country. And, there is at the moment a sort of hate campaign going on about immigrants in this country. I just want to say now that if we didn't have people from Africa, specifically Kenya and Nigeria, actually, if we didn't have people from Haiti and Cape Verde, we'd probably close tomorrow, right? And so the idea of saying that this is an inclusive environment isn't just about the morality of it. No. It's a very real thing, right? We couldn't run this organization without folks from all over the world.
Exactly. The diversity we have at BAMSI is quite amazing. And that's on both sides, as far as like the staff and the different experiences and perspectives that they bring to the job. And even the individuals that we serve. Yeah. They're also very diverse. And I mean, it makes a case for why the diversity is important in enriching the experience, the perspectives, the ideas that we come up with to best support the people in the communities that we serve and their families.
Yeah. And, I often think, and of course my story is very different because I came from Britain, but I did come into this country without knowing anybody except my partner. We arrived and sort of started to build a life. And it's really important to build your community, isn't it, at that point, and find people who are going to be accepting of you. That's a big part of BAMSI. Two-pronged question, really. When you got here, your mentors were important. Mm-hmm. But also seeing that you were in the running for an opportunity, right? That you felt as if, and maybe you didn't always feel like this, but you felt as if this was a place where you could advance. Because many of our folks who come from different countries keep their heads down, don't they? Because they think, well, this isn't for me. Yeah. And you're an example of somebody who saw that there was an opportunity and took an opportunity, and your career is ongoing.
Exactly, and like initially. Like I said, the attraction was the flexibility in the scheduling and the opportunities that the company that would allow me to. And, supervisors did a great job about working with me around my school schedule to make sure that, they could accommodate me. But they took an interest from day one. These conversations were happening about opportunities, about where I saw my career next. And initially, I thought that I was going to go in a different direction, and this is something that I would do to get me through school. But over that time, I really fell in love with what we were doing.
Yeah.
I felt there was a lot of meaning and purpose in what we did. In my conversations with my supervisors and peers, I clearly saw a path. There was others that actually saw more in me than I saw at the time, and because initially I didn't really think about it. Leadership reached out, said, "Hey, we think there's a career for you here," and supported me through mentorship. They offered training. We have a great learning and development department, and I was able to participate in work groups. I've attended many conferences over the years, Providers Council, the brain injury conferences. Those have been very impactful, very informative, and was supported through all those, through the ladder at BAMSI.
So, and we're running out of time. I don't know why this happens. It happens all the time when I talk to you, George. It's like that's the time is gone. But that sums up this notion, doesn't it, of taking an interest, of an organization that takes an interest in you, that wants to know where you want to go. People are having those conversations with you all the time about where do you want to go next and how can we leverage your skills. We're a member of the African Bridge Network, and people should look that organization up. They are an amazing organization that helps people who come from the continent of Africa. And many of those folks come with accountancy degrees, with, legal degrees, and how do you get back on that track? And we need to be doing more of that. As we run out of time, George, now you are at a pretty elevated position in this organization, overseeing clusters as a director. What do you like about that job now that you're there, and what are you thinking about next?
I like that I continue to do work that's meaningful. It's a much bigger scope, 12 programs over just a large group of staff. The individuals, I have individual home support that has 22 individuals. The other programs have about 5 each. So when you do the math, it's more than 70 people. So it's still very impactful. And I'm in a position, again, as we learn about just, the empathy involved in doing the job, but also using the metrics to better tell our story of the important work that we do. In the hopes that we'll be able to influence policy and regulations, get more funding so we can continue doing the good work that we do. So all of that really inspires me. So
you're still close to the work, and yet you're beginning to influence some of those things that we work on at BAMSI. For instance, we provide care, we provide education, and we provide advocacy, and those are all important things, I think. Well, George, we've run out of time, which is just inexplicable to me, but a wonderful conversation, and maybe we can revisit this in a year or so and see how you're doing, because this really is the essence of what an employer should be. Now, we're not perfect. And we strive for things. We strive for equality. We strive for accessibility and justice. But having people like you on those committees, pushing all the time for change and pushing for improvement is incredibly important for this organization. So I thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Wonderful conversation, and we'll see you next time. Bye.